Hey there. It's time for another installment of What Is It Wednesday? And today we're talking about the National Guard. See, a lot of people, they don't know what the National Guard really is. A lot of people think it's just another name for the reserves, but it's not. And it's important that you know the difference because if you don't, well, it can be hard to make sense of what's happening right now in Washington, D.C. and why it's not quite the same as Los Angeles, sort of, and what could be coming in other cities too if Donald Trump gets his way. See, I served in the Marine Reserves, so I've seen how the system works from the inside. And basically, this is how it breaks down. The reserves, whether it be Army, Marine Corps, Navy, or Air Force, they answer to Washington and the Department of Defense. The National Guard, or the Air Guard, answers to your governor and the president. See, the Guard traces its roots all the way back to 1636. That's the Massachusetts Bay Colony. That's just 16 years after the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth. From the beginning, communities in America, or what would become America, they relied on local militias made up of ordinary people ready to defend their neighbors. That's because they didn't want one big standing army that, whether it be Washington, D.C., or Philadelphia, or, well, whoever, could port an army in our cities. Plus, it's really expensive to maintain a standing army. The idea was that every state would keep its own militia. Over time, those militias became today's National Guard. So the active duty military and the reserves, they're always federal. The Guard is both a force for the states and a force for the nation. That's what makes the National Guard unique. Your governor can call them out for natural disasters like floods, wildfires, or even riots. And the president, well, can federalize them for national missions or overseas wars. So the National Guard kind of lives in both worlds. They're citizen soldiers and their neighbors one weekend, and then federal troops maybe the next. At a minimum, they train for 1 week in a month and 2 weeks a year. And most who join, they see it as an honor. It's a way to serve their community and to step up when their state needs them. And yeah, there are benefits that come with that service. There's some help with college, a little bit of money, some health care, and, well, even a retirement if you serve long enough. But for most members of the Guard, those are just kind of add-ons. The heart of joining the Guard is about service and sacrifice. It's the chance to protect both your neighbors and your country. But there's a trade-off. When they're serving the state, they're ready for the next fire or storm because, again, they're in their own communities in their state. But when they're federalized, they may not be in their state. They may not even be in this country. So that same National Guard that would be filling sandbags back at home, well, they might be standing a post in Washington, D.C., or they might be in Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever. And right now, the Guard's in D.C. They were in Los Angeles this summer, and Trump's already eyeing moves into Chicago, Baltimore, and New York City. See, this isn't just about the cities where the Guard shows up. It's also about the communities they come from. Because when the National Guard is activated, it's a whole town that sacrifices. That teacher in the classroom that's a Guard member, they're not there. That nurse, who's also a Guard member, they're not at the hospital on the shift. Or the mechanic shop, they're short-handed. Families have to adjust and neighbors have to step in because Guard members are away from their families and their communities. That sacrifice is real. And it's a part of what makes the National Guard so respected. The Guard isn't just another branch of the military. It's the only force that can shift almost overnight from serving your state to serving the federal government. That's a pretty powerful design when you think about it. But it comes with trade-offs that we should all understand. So here's what I'm saying to you. Don't just shrug the next time when you hear, well, the Guard got deployed. Because the National Guard, they're not just weekend warriors. They're your friends, they're your neighbors, they're your coworkers. Heck, they may even be your own family, or maybe somebody's family you really care about. And they're the pivot between state power and federal power. And in that pivot, that's your community safety. And the more we understand that, and the more we emphasize that to our leaders, that they shouldn't mess around with the National Guard, the harder it'll be for anyone to use them without accountability. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Keep the faith, defend democracy, and I'll see you later.